I get up most mornings and don't think about charging my power stations or watering my garden because it is built in as part of my everyday routine to be more self-sufficient. The garden helps me offset my grocery bill, and my solar setup allows me to offset my energy cost. But sometimes you have to ask yourself if it's worth it. So I decided to give you a day in the life view of how solar and my garden lower my cost and get me closer to self-sufficiency. My day starts by unplugging the power stations from different sections of the house to recharge them from the solar panels. You may not have heard about the incident on Wednesday, July 22nd, when a data center in Virginia began to lose power and went offline to backup power, which destabilized the grid from Virginia to Chicago to Miami for a short period of time. Luckily, Dominion's safety equipment kicked in to correct the issue. Outside of rising costs, the grid is becoming more and more unstable. My small solar setup reassures me that I will have power, and it simply requires me to hook up the power stations to my panels. If you bought a power station for outages and set it in a closet for when you think you need it, I hate to tell you that you are not saving it because there is such a thing as calendar degrading. Even though it's slow, whether you use it or not, your power station is degrading. Or if you charged up the power station before putting it in the closet, you can expect to lose anywhere from 3 to 6% of the charge per month. Again, whether you use it or not, the power station is discharging energy. Then consider this. The average power station lasts about 3,000 charge-recharge cycles. 3,000 divided by 365, the number of days in a year, equals 8 years of recharging. If we lower the number of cycles to 2,000, the number changes to around 5 years. So, the best time to use your power station is now. Some people question the savings I was able to generate using power stations with a small number of solar panels and not a whole house system. One of the best uses for a small setup with panels and power stations is peak shaving. I collect energy during the day with my panels that cost me nothing to store in my power stations. Using power strips, I'm able to connect several high or continuous use items to the power stations to offset my energy usage. With the power stations, there is no complicated setup, permits, or giving up anything because you're simply alternating your power source when rates are the highest for energy. My small solar setup allows me to shift to a low-cost power source, and all I have to do is move the power stations to my screen porch to recharge them. Some of the same reasoning goes for having a garden, even if it's a balcony or a window garden. Food safety has become a concern, especially with the current parasite causing so much upset, whose source is still not completely known. Despite 65 days of 100-degree plus heat, I was still able to maintain a small garden. But there definitely were challenges. High temperatures prevent plants producing flowers for fruit. You know it's going to be a difficult growing season when lantana, that is so invasive it is illegal to transport to some countries, cannot set flowers. The pests, too, have done their share of damage, eating even marigolds. Despite the heat, I've been able to get lots of Kentucky wonder beans and succession planted more in one of the long beds. The cowpeas, too, have given me plenty of peas for meals over the last 2 months. Collards have been a consistent crop during the hottest part of the season that I add to meals. As to leafy greens, I've been using sweet potato leaves, which are 10 times more nutritious than lettuce. They contain antioxidants, lots of vitamins A, C, and K, and are a good source of potassium. They even contain a small amount of protein. I also pick them to put in smoothies for a little extra boost. On another front, I've been getting plenty of okra, bell peppers, and carrots. The Fort Hook and dinosaur kale also provided plenty of leafy greens to use in salads and in stir-fries. I still buy a few vegetables from the grocery store, but my amounts are limited. And talk about thriving. The roselle plants have outperformed. The ones in the boxes that I wanted to use as a shade hedge have done quite well. So now I'm clearing out and adding mulch to the ones on the side of the yard. The way things are going, I should have plenty of calyxes to make jams and hibiscus tea leaves I can store for over the winter. There was one big disappointment that may still come good, and that was the Seminole pumpkins. They came up and began to vine, but then the intense sun and heat killed them off. So I've succession planted a new round that have sprouted. By the time they're ready to vine, we should be past the intense sun phase that should give them plenty of time to produce pumpkins. I may get my pumpkin tunnel after all, because I am in Florida. So here are the trends so far during this very hot summer for backyard self-sufficiency. My electric usage last year this time was around 1,200 kilowatt hours, and this year it was 675 in June and projected at 975 for July because the heat lasted well into the night and I needed to use the AC a lot more. On the vegetable front, I haven't had to worry about parasites because I know how my leafy greens were grown. And even though the harvest was smaller, I bought fewer vegetables from the grocery store. So I give it a yes that backyard homesteading is definitely worth it. And now I need to bring in my power stations. See you next time.